Hello, entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople, anyone selling a product or service. Here to help you with some tips today, help you grow your sales, get more clients faster and easier without feeling pushy or annoying. And want to welcome any who have a question. Feel free to put it in the chat or probably best to put it in the chat. So yeah, I got a couple of questions today that I want to cover. It won't be on very long. We're going to be pretty quick about adding some value today. So I had a couple questions from Kelly Jennings, superstar client of mine. Love Kelly, appreciate you, Kelly, superstar. And she talked about how to filter out people who are merely interested from those who are committed, in some ways that you can do that. Louisa, welcome to the Facebook Live here. So having a little fun with Facebook Live, going to do a brief meeting here. Won't be very long. Any questions you have around your business, getting more clients, feel free to drop it in the chat, everybody. So yeah, higher quality leads, or how to filter out those who are tire kickers / interested from committed. Problem with interested people is they're only going to do what's comfortable to accomplish the results they want. Commitment, as one of my mentors, Gary Ryan Blair, says, commitment's like pregnancy. Either you're pregnant or you're not. So we're sorting people who are already interested, is my original mentor, Eric Lofholm. Shout out to Eric. To always say is you're sorting for people who are already interested. We're not trying to convince anyone of anything. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to convince. So when people are asking me a lot of times for how do I filter the committed versus the interested, there's a few ways to do that. It's kind of like people ask me how to close sales. It's not the close all the time, although sometimes it is. It's opening hard. It's having key questions earlier in the process. So you can improve your close, or you can improve your lead generation systems. So you get a higher quality lead. So some of the ways I like to do that is to do things like event marketing. You can do something like this. You can do a webinar. You can do a conference call. You can do seminars. There's any number of things you can do where you're making an event and then you're attracting people to the event. And the second part would be, the value of attracting them to an event is that you're able to show your expertise and build some rapport with them, and you filter out the people that don't connect with you. So you're more likely to attract somebody who is connecting with your essence and your energy level, and feels that you have some expertise on the topic, because we're more likely to do business with experts. In my career, I've had many people where I've connected with them over the internet or something, and their mindset is, who? Yeah, it's Chris calling you. Who? What? I'm having dinner right now. Call me later, kind of a thing, because they see you as a salesperson versus giving a speech or doing a webinar or something. I call them up and say, hey, it's Chris from the webinar, from the speech at your office I did. And they go, oh, hi, Chris. Oh, I'm talking to somebody. Let me get rid of him. Let me get him off the phone. I want to talk to you. That's the difference between them perceiving you as an expert and someone who's doing things that most people are unwilling to do, and someone who's just a salesperson, call them. That's just a perception. So that makes a big difference in attracting committed versus interested people. It's not foolproof, because you got some people that'll just take anything free. So nothing wrong with that. But that's one way to improve the ratio and that opportunity. Hector, welcome to the meeting here. So that's one way to improve it, is to get a hold of more people. You do something on Facebook Live, or you do YouTube videos, whatever, that can last you for years. When another partner of mine, we recently did a video that had, a couple, I think it was 1,000 views. So you get access to more people that way. It gives you a chance to warm them up, have them build some trust and rapport with you. And then also you can cover a problem that predictably either is a problem people will pay to solve, or will lead to a problem. It lights the path to the problem once they're clear on it. That's one that they'll pay to solve, because there's a lot of problems people like to complain about, but they're really not committed to pay to solve the problem. So they're more the interested, not the committed. So that's another key aspect to it. You see, I think I took a note on this too. That's really important. And then, so now, in filtering these people, the other thing is questions control your focus. My mentor, Eric Lofholm, shout out to Eric again. Questions control your focus. So one of the keys is to communicate very directly and ask some questions in your presentation, the body of your one-on-one presentation. Ask some questions to pull out, determine if they're qualified. So I like to ask some questions in the beginning to let them know how the meeting is going to go. Otherwise, it can feel like an interrogation if you don't get their permission to ask them a few questions. Anything more than 3 questions starts to feel like an interrogation. So I ask them, in order for me to best help you, I ask you a few questions and take some notes. They usually agree. So I can go through a list of questions to help control the focus of the meeting, or make sure, control is not the right word, let's say make sure that it's productive. We have a lot of meetings that aren't productive. People show up and everyone's like, "Ew, what am I even doing here?" That's not unusual at all. Leslie, welcome to the meeting here. So you can ask those questions. So there's a few things that I want to see. I want to know, do they have leverage? In other words, do they have a reason to solve this problem outside of you, your coaching, your leadership ability, if you're offering a business opportunity maybe. They have a reason to buy the home or to start the business or to lose the weight. What's the reason outside of you? We call that leverage. And what that is that's recognizing and leading to what if you don't buy? What if you don't move forward? What's the problem going to be? If you don't do this, what are you going to do? Because you still have to deal with that problem every day. You hate your boss, and you've got to go to work every day, deal with the boss you hate. You're going to have some leverage. Maybe they're in a relationship, committed relationship, they have children, whatever it might be. Those may be reasons for someone to reach out for things they might not otherwise reach out for because they've got leverage, maybe versus someone who's single. They may not stretch themselves as much because they don't have to go and produce a result. Tony Robbins calls that, if I remember correctly, it's putting yourself in a position that demands you succeed. So I want to see, do they have leverage on themselves? Are they clear on what will happen if they do? Paint the picture, right? What happens if they do solve the problem? And what happens if they don't? What's the pain going to be? So is there leverage there? And if they're not clear on that, I'm going to pull it out, which is kind of the third piece here. You pull that out and you see how they respond. Do they take you shining a light on that? Do they take that and go, yeah, that's right, you're telling the truth? That's coachability. That's someone who's ready to that may be ready to make a change. If they're like, no, I don't think so, then you either didn't find the leverage and you have to keep looking, skinny, happy, rich, right? Or they just, again, they are maybe not committed. So is there leverage? The other thing I look for is, do they have a sense of urgency? Ongoing rapid results come from a sustained sense of urgency. So why now? Like, why lose the weight now? How long have you been thinking about losing the weight or releasing the weight, if you prefer that verbiage? Why start the business? Why make the money? Why leave the job now? And what that does is that helps you to see, do they have a sense of urgency for doing it now? Is there a reason to do it now, or is there a reason to delay? Because people, if they have ability to delay, they almost always will delay making a decision if they can. They will wait as long as they can to make a decision as a general rule. So we want to cultivate and find out, can we develop a sense of urgency? Maybe we can do that through the time of the year. Hey, it's almost April. We're done with the first quarter, right? Most businesses, the first or second quarter of the year is their best quarter of the year. So that being the case, how do they respond? Looking at the calendar, how many business days are left? We want to have that beach body. Okay, well, you have to get rocking on it if you want to get that beach body. Whatever it is that they want, I got to look for ways to create a sense of urgency. What's the pain if they don't take action on it today in their mind? And what's the pleasure if they do take action on it today in their mind? You can also do other things later in the process, like putting bonuses in or specials or whatever you may do to create a sense of urgency. But that is what I want to see is, do they have a sense of urgency? And if not, can I cultivate it? Doug, welcome to the meeting. Can we cultivate it? Sense of urgency. And then the other thing we look for, which we talked about, is, do they have the ability to purchase? It's not whether you have the resources, it's whether you have the resourcefulness. So do they have access to the money? It's not whether they have the money, it's whether they have access to the money. So those are 3 things, for example. There may be more, but that's off the top of my head right now. 3 things: you leverage, sense of urgency, and ability. Do they have the money, etc. In some industries, maybe it's solar panels, real estate, whatever it is. You also got to make sure you got the decision maker there. That's really important in some industries. Is the person who's going to make the decision, are they all present? If not, then you need to be sure you get all individuals who will be responsible for making the decision present, or you will kind of hamstring yourself. Not something you want to do in a lot of industries like solar, like real estate. Financial services is commonly another one where you need to ask about having all the decision makers present. Maybe certain paperwork needs to be present. Depends on what your product or service is that you're offering, but you should have an idea what that is. So those are how to filter, okay, are they committed or are they just interested? And then you can go into where you see they may be missing the sense of urgency or the leverage, and you can cultivate that, because people don't collect. They sit there and randomly think, oh, I should take the garage, clean out the garage. Oh, I should look at my life insurance. They randomly think that. They don't normally collect all the reasons. Hi, Randy. They don't normally collect all the reasons together. So by helping them get all the reasons together and also helping them get specific on the goal that they want, that's also a really important piece. No matter what, you want to get specific, measurable, and time-bound goal for them, so that in the future, even if they're not committed, they're only merely interested and only want to do what's comfortable or easy, then you can have a target to take their temperature down the road and follow up. So those are the things I want to do, to ask questions, to uncover. Try not to tell as much as you can avoid telling. Try to ask the question and get them to answer that. Let's play a little devil's advocate, like why now? And kind of have them kind of convince you, flip the tables a little bit, have them convince you why this is something that they must do now. And you can ask pre-qualification questions as well around, or some cases they call it a trial close, where you ask for agreement on a topic or a situation. Hey, Devin, you ask for agreement on a situation. You're not asking for the actual sale at that point, but you're asking for, do we have an agreement on this particular aspect? So you may go through a diagnosis of whatever is stopping them and ask them, does that sound right to you? Hey, Marco, does that sound right to you? If they go, yeah, that's right, well, now you just did a trial close. You now know at that point you're in agreement. So you're taking your sales presentation in chunks, okay? And then if they're not in agreement with you, then you have to work that. You got to find out, can we get to agreement? If you can't, maybe they're one of those folks that's like, oh, you know, I'm in research mode right now. That's a good question you can ask for pre-qualification around sense of urgency. Are you in research mode right now, or are you ready to purchase that home today? Are you ready to lose the weight today? Whatever the question might be, you ask them that. They go, well, I'm in research mode. I'm looking into some things. Okay, great, you're looking into some things. What specific things, what information do you feel you need that once you had it, you'd be able to make a decision? Well, I don't know, I'm just researching it. Okay, that's someone where you can uncover what the belief is that's going on. They will oftentimes tell you what beliefs are going on through their language. They will let you know what that is without even realizing what their beliefs are, and then you uncover that. You don't attack, you just uncover it and go, okay, this is what's stopping you from getting what you want. It's this. And then again, see how they respond to it. A lot of times when I'm doing that, I'm seeing how do they respond to the feedback. Are they being coachable? Are they getting defensive? What is their take on it? Because I need to know in any kind of partnership that I can lead and guide them. And at the end of the day, all you can do is be powerful. You can lead, ask pointed questions. It's not rude to ask questions. You're a professional. Professionals ask questions to get clarity on what side of the fence the person is. That's not nosy. It's not rude. You're a professional. Like a doctor asks you questions, that's their job. They're there to solve the problem. So that's some of the things you can do around figuring out they're a tire kicker, kind of interested and not committed. Sometimes you can just straight up ask them. And what's great about that is that then if they're not, then you can help them to see what they need to do to get there, or ask them what they need to do to get there, and you know, declare a path. And then you don't have to spend time trying to convince anybody to get committed when they're not there. You can give them your free stuff and say, let's check this out. Let's get in touch down the road, and you can check in with them at a future point, or give them homework and check in at a future point with them. So that's one of the ways that you can do that, to filter out people who are interested versus people who are really committed. Key thing is to ask questions and not let them ramble. People will often try to get around your questions. You'll ask them a question, they'll go off on a tangent, That works on their friends, but it doesn't work on you. Doesn't mean they can't talk about anything, but you can't let people go off on a distracting rant. You have to stop them, and the best way that I've learned to stop them, I learned from Jeffrey Combs, is to use their name. And, Susan, Mary, have a little fun with it. You didn't answer my question. Bring it back, because you can't have them go on a 5-minute tangent. Your sales presentation will go over. So this way you're not spending time going through a sales process or going through here's the benefits of something when you have someone who doesn't have the ability to move forward right now. I don't mind following up. Like a lot of people say to me, Chris, the future's in the follow-up. It's a common thing. There's a lot of value in follow-up. I'm really good at follow-up, but you want to be sure someone earns your follow-up. They have to be qualified for you to follow up. You don't want to follow up on people who are not qualified. You're better off spending that time and energy in your lead generation systems attracting people who are ready to change. You are not responsible for getting them ready to change. They are responsible for that. We can do what we can to lead and influence the rocks and the ripple effect, drop the rocks and pebbles in the ocean or the pond and let the ripple effect happen. But it's up to them to take it. We're really not here to convince anybody of anything. We're here sorting for people who are ready to be your teammate in solving this problem that they've got. Another one that Kelly mentioned, she mentioned basically how, what do you do with people that are kind of looking for the handout? So quick story around this. There was a time in my life I was really struggling, and my original mentor, Eric Lawfrom, again, shout out to Eric. I was in a program of his. I didn't have the money. And, it was a group program, and I messaged him, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to stop this program. I think it was like $40 a month. Like, it was very minimal. And basically, it wasn't any real skin off of him to say, hey, just show up. You can do the program for a month or two. Skip the payment. But he's like, I expect to see you, hear you on every single call. And I needed that at that point. That was really helpful for me. But I had to do the work. He wasn't spending one-on-one time with me at that point. I hadn't earned it. And he was already doing the meeting anyway. So it didn't dramatically impact him. He could have easily shut me down, of course, and been like, okay, well, we get the money to do it. But in that case, he wanted to see me. I was already a long-term client at that point. He wanted to see me on those calls, and I did. I was on all the calls, and I was like, hey, Eric, I'm here. So I followed the coaching and turned things around. So I do believe in paying it forward. I do believe in helping someone if they're in a spot. However, people need to qualify for your help. Okay, they need to stand up. Hey, Ryan, they need to stand up on their own 2 feet and produce. That's really, really important that they learn to produce. See, handouts beget more handouts. You give someone a freebie, then they expect to get more freebie. Behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. Hey, Kaylee, behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. So sometimes we just teach somebody if they throw enough of a tantrum that they're going to get a freebie, and then they go, ooh, cool. So if I keep doing the pity party, I was talking to someone today, I was talking about somebody that was trying to get them to feel sorry for him. It's a tactic a lot of times people use, get you to feel sorry for me, you give me something free, or you give me a discount, you give me a break, type of a thing. And life doesn't give us breaks. It just, it enables us to be weak. So it's important to set a standard for them to filter those people out. You set a standard for them of their own performance and something they have direct control over, whether it's creating money through a plan you've given them, or it's them taking a certain amount of action. Like if I'm in network marketing, I'm going to have to say, take a certain amount of action, and then you can have access to me, type of thing. So make them step up their game in their own performance, and you will either repel them and they'll go find another victim to go complain about. We've all had that person that is in our life that complains about something, and then you help them, and then they come back a week later, didn't listen to anything you said, and complain about it again. So you have to go to those people and just be like, look, I don't want to hear it again. So you're ready to change. I gave you feedback. Go ahead and take the feedback and use it, or we're not going to talk about it anymore. So you have to separate from yourself from those people as quick as you can. It's not mean. It's not rude. It's not heartless. It's actually the opposite. You're giving them an opportunity to step into their power, to create a change, and that's what increases confidence. What increases confidence is when nothing lowers confidence more than knowing that you could have performed better but didn't. So when you have a path, this has been done to me by my mentors, you have a path and you take the action on the path and you produce, now you own that. Now that's yours. No one can take that away from you, that moment of victory where you went to and handled, you had a challenge in your life, and you stepped up your mental game, the inner game, outer game, and action, and you took action on the coaching or the mentoring that you got, and you produced the result. That's something you can always reference when you're down. We don't want to rob somebody of that. They have to qualify, they have to earn it. Now that gets their confidence up, gives them a success reference that they can go back and say, hey, I remember when I performed at that high level that I aspire to be at daily. If I can do it one day, then I can do it every day. It's possible. So nudge them, love them, cajole them. Be willing to love them enough to let them do what they must do to step into their greatness. And that a lot of times means letting them struggle a little bit right now so they can find out what's possible for them. But also remember, you're running a business. So anytime you spend with someone who's looking for handouts and isn't committed and tries to suck all your time because you're trying to, help rescue them. Hello, Rick. Hi, John. If you're trying to rescue them, that takes time away from somebody else who is ready to change and really needs someone to guide them through that process. And you can help the most people. And then you also don't have to go work a day job because you can't afford to support yourself in your business. So again, this is a for-profit. This is not a non-profit. You're running a business. And you need to make profit so that you can free up your time so that you can impact more people, whether that's one-on-one or that's creating a product or that's duplicating yourself in your team. That's what it's all about. So you can spread and find people that are ready to go now. Doesn't mean you can't give them something to support them. In the meantime, while they get committed, I have a lot of free stuff I'll give people. Hey, check out my free stuff and use that free stuff and go produce a result. And when you're ready, talk to me, and then we can go from there. Because commitment is what's going to get it done. They have to be committed. And as I mentioned, Gary Ryan Blair says commitment's like pregnancy. You're committed, you're either pregnant or you're not. So you're either committed or you're not. So they need to show that. It doesn't help them if they're not to enable. It doesn't help them unless what helps is to get them committed. So filter that and let that give them that reference of success. And we do that with children a lot of times. We let them go through and have a victory, and we can celebrate that victory. So don't rob them of that moment. Have them try, have them step out, have them put it out in the universe and take the action. And if they do enough of it, even without the best strategy, if they do enough of it, then they'll get some result. And most folks don't have a product that's expensive enough that anybody who is committed can't find the money for it. Anybody who's committed can find the money, find the time, find the energy, convince their significant other in order to take advantage of the solution to the problem that you have. What they have to do is they got to live in the solution, not live in the problem. And that's something that you can reveal. So it's a great way to add a little bit of value and connect with them and shine the light on what's stopping. And then let them see, let them take it and do what they want with it at that point. So hopefully that helped. If you have any more questions, guys, let me know. I'll get it next time. I went a little longer today on here than I anticipated. But thanks you guys for being here, that are here. And definitely connect with me if there's a team that I could be a speaker for, or if you have any referrals for me, or if you'd like to connect with me to do an income accelerator strategy session, help you make the second quarter and the rest of the year your best. If you weren't satisfied with the results you got the first quarter, connect with me. Let's talk briefly and see what's in the way and grow your business, help more people. I appreciate all you here that checked in, took some time out of your day. And feel free to message me any questions for the next one. I intend to do one every week. I intend to do them on Wednesday. I intend to do them at 3:30. If I have enough demand, I will continue to do these. So best wishes to you as we end the month strong. March, we only got a couple more days, so finish the month strong. Plan out your second quarter. Be clear on what your outcomes are for the second quarter so you can rock and roll come Monday. So maybe do that over the weekend. But we got the rest of the day today and then 2 more days. So finish strong. Don't pull up at the end of the finish line. You see those Olympic runners, sprinters, they're always leaning into the finish line. So lean into it, finish strong. All right, I believe in you guys. Talk with you later.